Hello, everyone. This is Zach Robinson, and welcome to the Student Life Leadership Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Student Life Leadership Podcast. I am excited to have my friend, co-worker, and amazing Associate Dean of Student Development here, Zach Robinson. Zach, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about the work ethic of a leader and why it's important. Thanks for being here today, bro.
Yeah, thank you. I want to say that I am so appreciative for serving at ORU. We have a great caliber of students, and it's an honor to be able to be positioned in such a way to have a positive influence in the lives of young adults of today. So let's jump into our content. As we have already stated, this is about work ethic and how that is attached to leadership. And so before we get into some concepts, I want to kind of dive a little bit into just a working definition of work ethic. And so the Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines work ethic as a belief in work as a moral good, can include a set of values centered on the importance of doing work and reflected especially in a desire or determination of work hard. In the Oxford Languages, it talks about that work ethic is the principle that hard work is intrinsically virtuous or worth of a reward. So some definition highlights. So one thing that spoke out to me was work as a moral good. Work ethic can be a set of values, and work ethic could be worth of a reward. And so I want to just give you a few seconds to answer this question. What values do you believe contribute to a good work ethic? So by now, I would assume that you would have thought about some characteristics such as commitment, flexibility, adaptability, diligence, excellence, and tenacity. So as the foundation of work ethic, I think that we would be remiss as a community to discuss biblical foundation of work. And I think that we see work, the concept of work being defined and given to humanity starting in Genesis. And in Genesis 2:15, it says, "And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it." So right there at the beginning, we see how the concept of work is so important. If it wasn't for Adam being committed and engaged in keeping the garden, how could we see that growth and everything moving in harmony without that work being put into it? So just for context, and I think it's just so good to not only pull in Old Testament, but also New Testament. Mm-hmm. And so in 2 Thessalonians 2:3, we see that Paul is writing a letter to the church, and he has this quote, "If a man will not work, neither shall he eat." And so in that context, there was a point of time where everyone was, the Christian community was excited about the coming of Jesus Christ and didn't see the value of working anymore because he's coming tomorrow, he's coming any day. So we're just waiting and anticipating. There's no really reason to invest time in working as in Genesis, keeping the earth clean, the whole nine. There's just no use of that because Jesus is going to be coming soon, and there's going to be a new heaven, new earth, and the whole nine. But right then and there, Paul stops them and says, "Hey, we don't know when that time is coming, but just be ready." And so in the meantime, to continue to work. So let's talk about a few of just some historical examples within the last 20th century, 21st century of people that we admire as hard workers. And so the first person that I have an example is Helen Keller. Helen Keller overcame being blind and deaf in order to get the success that she obtained. Something that is noteworthy about her life is that in the early stages of learning the language, the first night that she learned sign language, she learned 30 words. Very talented young lady, and even went on to graduate from college and write her own biography. Helen Keller did not get to where she was just because she was talented. She had to put in hard work. Next, we have Mohandas Gandhi, civil rights activist in India. He is known for his nonviolent civil disobedience campaigns. And one event that really impacted the world, even in the country of India, was when he led the travel of 241 miles to sea to protest the British tax on salt. So we know that after Mohandas Gandhi, he had an impact on Nelson Mandela and even Martin Luther King. And you see those concepts that were influenced by Gandhi even woven through society as it progressed going forward. So we just talked about some examples back in the 1800s and 1900s. Let's move forward to some examples of today. And one guy that comes to mind is Elon Musk. He is a businessman, inventor, and an investor. Something that's noteworthy with him is that he read the entire encyclopedia and taught himself computer programming at 9 years old. And then as of today, he's just known for his current influence in Tesla Motors. If you guys don't know much about Tesla Motors, that particular company is really known for its creativity in the automobile industry. Another lady that is very important in today's culture is Michelle Obama. She's known as being the first African-American first lady in the United States. And she advocated for reducing poverty, living a healthy lifestyle, and education. And so we saw very quickly with these two individuals how they took their passions and worked very hard, both of them coming from humble beginnings and working themselves up to be in a position of influence. So those are a few real life examples of how work ethic is directly correlated with leadership. I would like to leave you with a formula, a concept to think about as we move forward. And so, as I stated earlier, work has to be a foundational concept for society. And so if that's true, then work should yield productivity, and productivity should yield progress. So just think about that as we discuss 5 points that would help us in our journey of building strong work ethic. Point number 1, chase after short-term goals and long-term goals for yourself. I would say that you should include both personal and professional goals. And once you have those written down somewhere, maybe in a journal, on a note card, sticky notes on a mirror where you can see it often, having that discipline of being able to track progress and visualize where you're going and where you're moving forward, this will help you keep focus and avoid being idle. The second point that I would like to propose is that you strive to give your best guess. Avoid committing yourself to tasks that you cannot realistically fulfill. You must set clear expectations and understand that for every no that you give, you can also give your positive great yes, and be able to fully commit to whatever task or whatever matter that you want to commit yourself to. My third point that I would like to submit to you is to don't be afraid to do something scary. There will be times in your life where you will be faced with opportunities that you do not appear to be aligned with your strengths. Sometimes the talents and gifts that lie dormant in your lives are activated or triggered when we experience intense pressure. There are powerful lessons awaiting you at the end of every journey. Allow yourself time to exercise your faith in God, in others, and yourself. The fourth point that I would like to submit to you is surround yourself with highly motivated people. I remember in grade school you would hear this phrase, birds of a feather flock together. Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, for a man thinketh within himself, so is he. And so the point that I'd like to pull from that is that you can be a product of the people that you surround yourself with. And so if you are surrounding yourself with highly motivated people, then you yourself would be ambitious enough to be highly motivated yourself. So my final point for point 4 is that the people around you should encourage you to reach your full potential. Point number 5, be a person that identifies problems and create solutions. Great servant leaders are able to anticipate a need and are ready to provide a response before the problem surfaces. The ideology that I like to bring up, and my boss, she's really good at outlining this whole scenario, but it's the concept of the server versus a waiter. A waiter waits until the customer asks for their beverage to be filled. A server looks for the opportunity to fill the customer's beverage. Very two different concepts. But the big thing that I want to push here is that in order for us to be effective as servers, we have to be able to anticipate the need. This concept is extremely valuable in any team or organizational structure. So let's review the list of our 5 points. Number 1, chase after short-term and long-term goals for yourself. Number 2, strive to give your best yes. Number 3, don't be afraid to do something scary. Number 4, surround yourself with highly motivated people. Number 5, be a person that identifies problems and create solutions. I want to go back to the formula real quick. We had discussed earlier that work should yield productivity and productivity should yield progress. We cannot expect to see progress in our lives if we do not put in the work first. In addition, the work must be productive in order for us to see tangible growth. My prayer for you, to all that are listening right now, I would expect or believe that you are on a quest of identifying how you will impact your community. I would like to submit a prayer for you that you will continue to invest in yourself spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, and physically. As you put in the work, that God will honor your diligence. Remember, each of us are destined to be world changers. I believe that a strong work ethic as a part of the foundation of leadership is important and can have a direct impact on your power of influence. I would like to submit a quote to you that was given to me years ago, probably when I was like in 6th grade or 7th grade. And there was a special speaker that spoke in the General Assembly back in school, and she said, "Live your life so that when you leave, people will grieve and not be relieved."
That's a great quote, Zach. Thank you for that. And thank you for your whole talk. I hope you as listeners were taking notes and taking away the value of a good work ethic for leaders. It's so important in Zach and I's everyday life, and we see students every day learning how to grow in their work ethic while they're here at school. And so we just want to leave you with that challenge, that you would be leaders that value work and put in the work ethic so that God can use you in mighty ways to advance his kingdom for the rest of your days. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Student Life Leadership Podcast, and we can't wait to see you next time.